Many times when people reach out to me looking to relocate here to Kitchener-Waterloo, I get asked the question, Kevin, it is just so expensive here. I'm thinking about moving to Calgary next year. Well, in this video, we're gonna find out exactly what place is better to live. Kitchener-Waterloo versus Calgary, Alberta. Let's get right into it with the location. Now, this is a bit of a tough one here because Calgary is located in an absolutely idyllic setting with the Rocky Mountains in the background. Absolutely picturesque beauty that cannot be found anywhere else in the world, with famous places like Lake Louise, Banff, and Calgary itself is actually a very pretty city as well, with the Bow River that runs right along through there. In terms of the weather though, that is where Kitchener-Waterloo is definitely better than Calgary, Alberta, because nobody wants to deal with snow in the month of June. Because a lot of times when you are living in Calgary, you might encounter snow in May and June just because of the fact it's located much further north than where we are here in Kitchener-Waterloo. Many times in Calgary, Alberta, the winter can last 7 to 8 months at times, it feels like, with crazy weather changes that they can encounter, like the Chinook winds, which do help to warm up the city during the cold winter months. Now, Chinook is the hot wind which blows over the Rocky Mountains coming from the Pacific Ocean down into Calgary, Alberta. These Chinook winds bring in some welcomed warmth to the city. But again, this can give people crazy headaches because of all of that change in weather conditions. You might have encountered this if you have been on a vacation during the winter months, that the initial few days that you're there, you might get some pressurized headaches because of that crazy weather change that you've seen. And many people in Alberta, and Calgary specifically, encounter this problem. So in this category, we're gonna have to give it a tie. Now, the economy and job market. This one is specifically tough to really give the point to either one here, but I'm gonna have to give the point to Kitchener-Waterloo. And we'll quickly go over why that is. Now, the median household incomes, in regards to Calgary, it's just over $107,000. Kitchener, it's just over $102,000. And Waterloo far surpasses both Calgary and Kitchener at $127,000 and some change. Now, the biggest difference though is the reliance that the city of Calgary has on the oil industry. And as we can see from the many changes that we've been seeing with the Canadian government and how they've been kind of penalizing the province of Alberta, and we're trying to transition away from oil, I think that the future of Calgary and Edmonton is going to be really hurt by this in terms of being so reliant on their oil industry. And you can really see this in the way that their real estate market has been affected throughout the years. Calgary, Alberta had higher home prices than Kitchener-Waterloo. Now things have definitely flipped. And you can see that the relative risk that that economy has compared to Kitchener-Waterloo is a complete game changer. And I think if you are more conservative in terms of the growth outlook of the two cities, I think you're better off here in Kitchener-Waterloo, especially in regards to software engineering, IT, anything within the tech industry. I think you're better off here in Kitchener-Waterloo. Now, the cost of living, this one, I'll have to give the point to Kitchener-Waterloo. And not so fast. I know you're gonna jump in and say, well, the real estate in Calgary, Alberta is so cheap. We'll get to the real estate. But looking at from a cost of living perspective, in Calgary, Alberta, if you are making $7,000 a month, you would have to make $6,600 to have the exact same quality of life that you would in both the city of Kitchener and the city of Waterloo. That brings me on to number 4 here, is yes, the real estate here, and possibly the biggest determining factor when relocating from anywhere in the world might be the cost of real estate in that particular city. And yes, Calgary, Alberta is in fact less expensive than Kitchener-Waterloo. Calgary, the average price for residential property in the month of June was just over $552,000. In Kitchener, the average price was just over $788,000. And in Waterloo, the average price was over $846,000. So certainly the point does go to Calgary, Alberta. Now let's get into the infrastructure and transportation. Now both cities are your typical North American cities, but Calgary in particular is definitely more of an Americanized city per se. It is a large city, very similar to many cities in the United States like Houston, Texas, with a downtown core and then a ring circle highway. And the majority of people living in Calgary do use their cars to commute. And in regards to hours lost due to traffic, I was surprised by this. Calgary, Alberta actually has more hours lost due to traffic at 110 hours per year compared to Kitchener-Waterloo, which was just 97. Also, you want to take into consider the walk score of the three cities. In Kitchener, the walk score is 45. In Waterloo, the walk score is 41. And in Calgary, the walk score is 39. Not to mention that it's absolutely freezing cold in the winter months in Calgary, Alberta compared to Kitchener-Waterloo. So in this category, the point goes to Kitchener-Waterloo. Now, healthcare services. In regards to healthcare, I think Calgary, Alberta is better in this circumstance. They typically have lower waiting times, a more built out infrastructure in regards to the healthcare system there compared to Kitchener-Waterloo. And again, it's one of the Achilles heels. If you've seen my other videos, this is definitely the drawback of living to Kitchener-Waterloo is the lack of hospital space that we have compared to other cities in Canada and in Ontario. So the point here will have to go to Calgary. When relocating, you might think, what are the education choices like? Well, Calgary and Kitchener-Waterloo have excellent education choices. In Calgary, you do have the University of Calgary, of course, being one of the best universities, ranked number 5 in Canada, as well as you have Mount Royal universities and a few other universities as well. In Kitchener-Waterloo, we have 2 excellent universities, both the Wilfrid Laurier University and the University of Waterloo. The Wilfrid Laurier University is ranked number 29 in Canada, where the University of Waterloo is ranked number 8. Now in this particular category, I'm gonna have to give the point to Kitchener-Waterloo, just based on the fact that per capita wise, we definitely have better schools than the city of Calgary, as well as you're close enough to other major locations within Ontario, like Toronto, like Hamilton, which have great universities as well. Now, recreational activities and fun. Well, in this category, let's give it to Calgary. Let's be honest, we can't really compete with those beautiful Rocky Mountains there. Lake Louise, Banff, it's absolutely stunning, as well as the food scene in Calgary is better than Kitchener-Waterloo. And we just can't compete with them. I would love myself to go out to Calgary, Alberta and see the beautiful mountains, that beautiful landscape that frankly you can't get anywhere else in the world. So the point here goes to Calgary. Now we have safety to look at. The crime severity index score for Calgary, Alberta was 74.4. In Kitchener-Waterloo, it was 79.4. Both cities are incredibly safe, but Calgary is slightly safer. But in terms of homicide rates, you can't beat Kitchener-Waterloo. We had the lowest homicide rate in Canada in the year 2021, with only 2 homicides within the Waterloo region. In regards to safety, Calgary gets the point here. Now, number 10 here is the future growth potential of both Calgary and Kitchener-Waterloo. Now, Calgary is absolutely massive. It has a population of nearly 1.5 million people. And of course, population-wise, it's going to be larger than Kitchener-Waterloo, and it always will be. But the thing is on a per capita basis, I really think if you are living here in Kitchener-Waterloo, the future growth potential here is far better than Calgary, for the very fact that, again, the amount of universities, the amazing infrastructure that we have here with the light rail transit system, which we were far ahead than most other cities within Canada, with the light rail transit system happening in 2019, as well as the wage growth that we've been seeing here in the Waterloo region, and we continue to see over time. And I think in Calgary, you are definitely more volatile there when it comes to your income, because it's so highly based off of the oil industry. Because if the oil industry comes down, then house prices in Alberta do come down. And we've seen that many times, like in 2014, 2015, when Calgary's prices did started to come down. Now they've come back up and they're higher than the prices were in 2014, 2015. But again, it does have this cycle of ups and downs, much like the United States of America. So you've probably decided Kitchener-Waterloo is the best place for me. Well, I've created a video on what the Waterloo region looks like